Welcome to Zooming In, and I'm Simone Gao. Today, I want to talk about something deeply personal and significant. For over 25 years, I was a Falun Gong practitioner. I began practicing in the late 1990s, and it became a core part of my life. But last November, everything changed. The Falun Gong organization issued an order demanding that I cut all ties with someone named Yu Chao. I chose not to comply, and as a result, I was expelled from the group. This person, Yu Chao, is a whistleblower who has exposed the troubling practices within Shen Yun. I was not the only one who received the order to cut ties with Mr. Yu. Falun Gong ordered all practitioners to cut ties with him, banning us from watching his programs or engaging with him in any way. After I was expelled, something unexpected happened. Almost all the articles, videos, and work I have contributed to the Epoch Times and NTD TV over the past 20 years got erased. Only a few are still up, probably just to show they didn't completely wipe everything. Then, starting in August, Falun Gong affiliated media started spreading reports calling people like me agents of the Chinese Communist Party or facilitators of the CCP's persecution of Falun Gong. The accusations against me and others are part of a bigger strategy by Falun Gong to distract from the scandals uncovered in the New York Times investigation into Shen Yun. Instead of addressing the issues, they have been claiming that these revelations are just another round of CCP persecution, insisting that all of us, including the New York Times, are somehow being directed by the CCP. Let me be clear. I'm not a CCP agent, and neither are the former Shen Yun performers or whistleblowers I know who have decided to speak out. Today, I'm going to share my story, the stories of others who have come forward, and the evidence that proves these claims wrong. First, let's hear what Yu Chao has to say.
Hi, my name is Yu Chao, and I am a Falun Gong practitioner. I am here to raise awareness about a critical aspect of the recent Falun Gong Shen Yun controversy, in which I am both a whistleblower and a victim. Falun Gong is a spiritual group that has been banned and persecuted in China. Over the years, it has grown significantly outside China, expanding into various sectors, including media, entertainment, education, business, and technology. One of the most visible ventures is the Shen Yun Performing Arts Company, known for its cultural shows. Recently, the New York Times published a series of investigative articles uncovering allegations of child labor exploitation and psychological abuse within Shen Yun. These reports were mainly based on testimony from former Shen Yun performers because Shen Yun authorities turned down the New York Times interview requests. In response, Falun Gong and its media arm, the Epoch Times, categorically denied the allegations, citing the positive experiences of current performers. Following the reports, Falun Gong affiliated groups alleged that former performers and individuals exposing the alleged abuses, like myself, were CCP agents or supporters of Beijing persecution of Falun Gong. I have become a primary target of such accusations. Let me state unequivocally, I'm not a CCP agent. I practiced Falun Gong for 31 years and spent nearly a decade in CCP's prisons for assisting Western journalists in documenting the persecution of Falun Gong practitioners. However, after moving to the United States, I was devastated to witness the corruption within Falun Gong and the exploitation of Shen Yun performers. This compelled me to step forward once again to reveal the truth. I have reported Shen Yun to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. For additional context and evidence, I encourage you to review this compilation of accounts from former Shen Yun performers. I will give the link under this video. Additionally, for more information on this issue, you can explore my YouTube programs. To those who allege I am an unregistered CCP agent, I offer this response. Everyone has the right to know the full story of Shen Yun. On August 6, 2024, the Falun Dafa Information Center issued a report titled Weaponizing Social Media, the CCP's new plan to eliminate Falun Gong worldwide, claiming that the Chinese regime has made a strategic decision to intensify its global persecution of Falun Gong. This strategy includes providing full support to social media influencers to attack Falun Gong and Shen Yun performing arts. The article references two YouTubers, one from Japan and one from America, without naming them. Although the report did not mention my name, the description of the American YouTuber clearly pointed to me, Yu Chao. The article claims that I acted as an unregistered foreign agent of the CCP and alleges that I am supported by the Chinese Ministry of Public Security. It further states that I receive content from CCP officials and a network of overseas agents and spies within the Falun Gong community. Additionally, it suggests that the former Shen Yun performers I interviewed are suspicious individuals who might have connections with the CCP. This report and its points have been cited by Falun Gong media outlets, including Epoch Times, NTD TV, Sound of Hope, 政见, Banned Book, 人民报, 阿波罗网, and 博谈网. Numerous Falun Gong influencers on social media provided substantial coverage, and it has also been cited by some other media outlets, such as Radio Free Asia. The accusation against me in the report is a complete and utter lie. I began practicing Falun Gong in 1993. In 2002, I was arrested by Chinese authorities and spent 9 years and 6 months in prison in Tianjin, China. My crime was assisting Western journalists in interviewing Falun Gong practitioners persecuted by the Chinese Communist Party and helping practitioners establish encrypted communication channels. I was released from prison in 2012, came to the United States in 2013, and I'm now a US citizen. Beginning in no later than 2017, some former Shen Yun performers contacted me to share their traumatic experiences at Shen Yun. Upon hearing these stories, I reached out to Falun Gong authorities, veteran practitioners, and people who work at Feitian, the college that prepares dancers and musicians for Shen Yun, to verify these claims. However, no one gave me a straightforward answer. Instead, they asked me not to spread or mention what I have heard. I did not comply. Instead, I began sharing these stories and interviewing Shen Yun performers on my YouTube channel. As a result, I was publicly criticized and demonized by Falun Gong official website minghui.org and by Falun Gong founder Li Hongzhi. I was officially excommunicated from Falun Gong, and practitioners were instructed not to watch, listen to, or have any contact with me. The falundafa.info, which is a main website of Falun Gong, report repeatedly accuses me of being a CCP agent, claiming I belong to an extensive network of overseas agents. I have no connection to the CCP. I have not contacted by any CCP personnel, received instructions from them, or accepted any funds from them. In fact, I have constantly maintained my anti-CCP stance. The content of my programs was not provided by the CCP. All the individuals I interviewed were former Shen Yun performers or musicians, many of whom grew up practicing Falun Gong. They revealed to me the horrific practices within Shen Yun, including child slavery, child labor exploitation, human trafficking, arranged marriages or forced breakups, and the physical, mental, and spiritual abuse they endured. Labeling these individuals as suspicious and implying they have connection with the Communist Party is both unfair and dishonest. These people are US, New Zealand, and Taiwanese citizens. Shen Yun is fully aware of their identities and has pressured them through social connections. Some have family members still involved with Falun Gong who are being forced to harass their own children under pressure from the organization. I've noticed that there are many seemingly machine-generated comments in support of me on my Twitter and YouTube channel, which I have massively blocked. I believe these are posted by Chinese Communist Party so-called 50-cent army. While I think the CCP might exploit any facts or statements that are unfavorable to Falun Gong to attack the movement, these in no way imply that I have any connection with them. The report described me as someone who desires to be part of a death squad against Shen Yun, and US law enforcement issued a warning to local officials in New York that he was potentially armed and dangerous after he was seen near Shen Yun Training Center. This account is completely false. In early September 2023, when Shen Yun claimed that I was seen near their campus, I was actually on a gateway in Toledo, Ohio, 536 miles away from Shen Yun location, and I did not have any weapons with me. At that time, I became aware that high-ranking Falun Gong members were searching for my physical address. Given that Shen Yun performers had previously shared with me accounts of multiple suspicious deaths related to Shen Yun, I thought it was wise to distance myself from potential danger and reported my concerns to the local police during that trip. No, I was not near Shen Yun at that time. In fact, by then I had never been within 90 miles of their campus in my entire life. Unfortunately, the FBI believed these lies, both the mistranslation of death squad, 敢死队, and the claim that I was near the campus. As a result, they issued a security bulletin throughout Berkshire County of Massachusetts and searched my home with local police. Falun Gong tracked down my address, causing me to fear for my safety. Shen Yun twisted my words and misled U.S. federal law enforcement agencies in an attempt to silence me. But I will not be silenced. The fact that the entire report is a blatant lie, and that is widely cited by both Falun Gong controlled and non-Falun Gong controlled media, is deeply concerning. When I began revealing truth about Shen Yun, I faced a massive organization alone. I did not back down then, just as I did not back down when the CCP first began persecuting Falun Gong over 25 years ago. While my circumstances have changed, my commitment to the truth has not. Being persecuted in one area does not justify wrongdoing elsewhere. Everyone has the right to know the full story of Shen Yun.
Thanks, Yu Chao. Mr. Yu not only interviewed former Shen Yun performers, he also bravely questioned how Falun Gong operates internally. What stood out to me the most was when he looked into why Falun Gong authorities were collecting and storing personal information from practitioners' passports a few years ago. He thought it was something that deserved a real investigation. At the time, he suspected that Li Hongzhi, the founder of Falun Gong, might have been trying to get in Xi Jinping's good graces by gathering personal data from overseas practitioners and sharing it with Beijing. Back then, I just brushed it off as conspiracy talk. Recently, a whistleblower named Olivia, a former editor at Minghui.org, shared on the X platform that during a meeting of senior editors, Minghui's chief editor, Meng Siwei, allegedly said that Falun Gong had handed over copies of overseas practitioners' passport info to Beijing in 2019. At the same time, practitioners in mainland China were encouraged to file a lawsuit against former party leader Jiang Zemin using their real names. According to Falun Gong media, Jiang was a political rival of Xi Jinping and the one who ordered the crackdown on Falun Gong. Meng reportedly said, "We need to do something to help Xi Jinping." This is probably why, in China, a real name lawsuit campaign against Jiang Zemin was launched. This campaign led to the arrest of tens of thousands of Falun Gong practitioners. Minghui.org, the official website of Falun Gong, is the platform where Li Hongzhi's articles are first published and later disseminated across other Falun Gong media. Li has instructed practitioners to rely on Minghui for major announcements. Sharing sensitive personal data of U.S. citizens without their consent with a foreign government is a serious crime. I strongly urge the U.S. government to launch a thorough investigation into these claims. Next, I would like to talk about the former Shen Yun performers. According to reports from the Falun Dafa Information Center, Minghui, the Epoch Times, and other Falun Gong media, those who have come forward with allegations against Shen Yun and lawsuits against Falun Gong are suspicious individuals because they have visited China and have connections to the Beijing Dance Academy. An article in the Epoch Times titled 10 Things You Need to Know About the New York Times Report on Shen Yun wrote, among the 6 former Shen Yun performers interviewed or quoted by the New York Times, at least 3 have disclosed ties to the Beijing Dance Academy. The Beijing Dance Academy, a state-run institution, is a tool used by the Chinese Communist Party to target Shen Yun globally. It is also the only major competitor of Shen Yun and its affiliated schools worldwide. These 3 individuals have gone to Beijing and cooperated with the Beijing Dance Academy. I contacted the 3 former Shen Yun performers mentioned in the article, Jeff Sun from New Zealand, his wife Ashley Cheng, and Zhang Junge from Taiwan, regarding their visits to China and the Beijing Dance Academy. Jeff explained that he and his wife visited Beijing Dance Academy during trips to China in 2018 and 2019. They also toured around other institutions, including Mingzu University, Tsinghua University, and Beijing Film Academy. Jeff had left Shen Yun in 2015. He told me that their visit to the Beijing Dance Academy was purely out of curiosity, since Shen Yun had been heavily influenced by the academy. According to Jeff, Li Hongzhi often praised the Beijing Dance Academy and encouraged Shen Yun performers to learn from it. He values Shen Yun teachers who are alumni of the academy and personally guides performers through the academy's instructional videos. Jeff also mentioned that Shen Yun had tried to recruit Beijing Dance Academy graduates by offering high salaries, U.S. green cards, and even marriage proposals. However, these attempts didn't work, as those who joined left shortly after. Jeff told me that during their visit, no one at the Beijing Dance Academy was aware of their background as former Shen Yun performers or Falun Gong practitioners. They had no discussion about Shen Yun or Falun Gong and did not cooperate with the academy in any capacity. Jeff also noted that during their trips to China, they observed no signs of Falun Gong. He described China as a modern country where people seemed indifferent to Falun Gong, contrary to Shen Yun's claims that practitioners would face hostility or arrest upon returning. Jeff and Ashley's experience might not reflect that of every Falun Gong practitioner or individual perceived by China as hostile. For instance, although I'm no longer a Falun Gong practitioner, I do not plan to return to China due to my work as a journalist covering China's politics and economy. The former Shen Yun performer from Taiwan, Zhang Junge, provided a brave response to the Epoch Times accusation. In a message to me, she wrote, "I feel there's no need to clarify something I didn't do. I have already hired a lawyer and they will handle it for me." On December 26th, Zhang Junge filed a lawsuit against Shen Yun, Li Hongzhi, Li's wife Li Rui, and others. The lawsuit alleged that Shen Yun and its leadership exploited vulnerable children for low-paid or unpaid labor. It also claims Falun Gong-affiliated media defamed her by labeling her a CCP agent. The lawsuit references a YouTube video by Feitian College professor Zhang Tianliang, who allegedly spread false and defamatory claims that Zhang and her husband were CCP agents and that their dance studio in Taiwan was funded by the Chinese government. Zhang remarked that these accusations appear to follow a coordinated narrative among Falun Gong media. Next, I'll share my own experiences. According to Falun Gong media, anyone who comes forward at this time to share their experiences with Falun Gong is likely a CCP agent or at least someone aiding the CCP in persecuting Falun Gong. Their reasoning is that the sudden emergence of such individuals during this period suggests a coordinated effort. For instance, Falun Gong practitioner and YouTube influencer Tang Jingyuan mentioned in the November 18th episode of his program that Falun Gong had allegedly obtained internal CCP documents. These meeting records reportedly instructed various departments to mobilize overseas agents and activate internal spy network within Falun Gong groups, particularly in the US. Additionally, provincial propaganda systems and their online operatives were allegedly directed to supply anti-Falun Gong materials to two former Falun Gong members on YouTube who have been critical of Shen Yun and Falun Gong. The documents purportedly outlined plans to generate public support for these individuals and other influencers. While the two former Falun Gong members on YouTube attacking Shen Yun and Falun Gong mentioned by Mr. Tang in his program likely refer to Yu Chao and myself. Yu Chao has told his story. Here's mine. I do feel like I've gotten special attention from the Chinese government. After being kicked out of Falun Gong and finally stopping my practice, I started sharing my experiences and thoughts on Falun Gong on my Chinese YouTube channel and the X platform. Since then, no matter what I post on X, I get flooded with abusive comments. A lot of these comments are tagged to make them easy to find, with the most common tag being Falun Gong discard, saying I was abandoned by the group. Other posts, without any specific tags, use some of the worst language to attack me as a person and as a woman. Whenever I post, I ended up spending hours blocking accounts. But it feels like an endless task. A lot of those accounts are brand new and clearly automated bots. While some people think Falun Gong is behind these attacks, I believe they are actually coming from Chinese government trolls. These trolls aren't supporting me. They are using people like me who have spoken out about Falun Gong to push their own agenda. Their goal seems to be making it look like those abusive comments are coming from Falun Gong itself, which would make its public image even worse. That said, some of the posts might actually be from real Falun Gong practitioners, calling me an agent, a traitor, or using other nasty terms. But in my opinion, the posts with coordinated keywords and patterns are definitely from Chinese trolls. At the same time, my YouTube channel gets supportive comments that I think are also from the same trolls. These comments are repetitive, coming from newly created accounts, and seem fake. I just delete and block them. The way the Chinese government handles me shows they think they can't control me directly. Instead, they seem to be trying to use what I'm doing for their own purposes. As for claims by Falun Gong media that the CCP provides us with large amounts of anti-Falun Gong material to spread on social media, this has never happened to me. I have a public email address for audience feedback, and I've never received such material. Instead, I've received numerous emails from Falun Gong practitioners, some trying to persuade me and others just insulting me. Everything I've shared on YouTube and X is all based on my own experiences and thoughts, and I own 100% of the copyright. Honestly, since the persecution of Falun Gong started, no one from the Chinese government has reached out to me, let alone giving me any tasks. I'm sharing my story to highlight how Falun Gong has handled this PR crisis. They label anyone who exposes their scandals as being aligned with the CCP, trying to shift the blame onto them. They seem to think this will fix things, but it won't, because their reasoning is completely flawed. Their logic is the CCP persecutes Falun Gong, so anyone pointing out Falun Gong's darker side must be working with the CCP. That's a clear fallacy, and it won't fly in the US. I believe that US lawmakers who support Falun Gong are unaware of the full truth. Falun Gong practitioners have only shared one part of the story, that Falun Gong is persecuted in China. Over time, lawmakers will learn the full story, and their stance might shift. The failure of the Falun Gong Protection Act in the US Senate may already be a sign of this. America is not China. In China, the CCP can suppress dissidents without challenge. In America, if Falun Gong defames someone, that person has the legal right to fight back in court. Falun Gong kicked me out because I wouldn't cut ties with Yu Chao as they demanded. They put out a notice accusing me of using Falun Gong resources to groom CCP agents for years. They even went as far as deleting all my articles, interviews, and documentaries from their platforms. It's pretty much like what the CCP does. But this is America. Falun Gong can't just erase my personal website, social media, or articles published in US outlets. My work has been featured in places like The Hill, The Wall Street Journal, Newsweek, The National Interest, and others. Whether or not I'm a CCP agent should be judged by my work, not by someone's unfounded accusations. I haven't been back to China since I came to the US more than 2 decades ago, and my family has advised against it because all the years I've spent criticizing the Chinese government. I'm not a CCP agent. I believe that Yu Chao, the former Shen Yun performers speaking out about exploitation, and those who have left Falun Gong for similar reasons aren't CCP agents or under CCP influence either. Falun Gong trying to discredit us by labeling us as agents and deflecting from their scandals is both wrong and counterproductive. Ironically, it's starting to look more and more like the behavior of the CCP itself. I really hope Falun Gong doesn't turn into something like the CCP, just wrapped in stories of miracles. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.